Welcome to Silum Comitatus. I'm Kai. There's a story that the Buddha told one of his disciples who was impatient about getting answers to his questions about life. There was once a man that had been wounded by a poisoned arrow, and when his family wanted to find a doctor to help him, the man said no. The mortally wounded man said that before any doctor tried to help him, he wanted to know who had attacked him, what was his caste, and where was he from. He also wanted to know this other man's height, strength, skin tone, the kind of bow he used, and whether its string was made of hemp, silk, or bamboo. So, as he wondered if the arrow's feathers came from a vulture, a peacock, or falcon, and whether the bow was common, curved, or made of oleander, he ended up dying before getting an answer to any of his questions. You're like the wonder warrior of the story? Let me ask you, how long have you been dwelling on the same questions and getting the same answers, or getting no answers whatsoever? I'm going to give you a list of questions, and you're going to write down the ones that you usually ask yourself. Or you can just write the ones you think are the questions you usually ask. Will I ever find love, success, happiness? Am I going to have a good life? Why did that situation happen the way it did? What could I have done differently? Did I make the right choice? Why am I feeling this way? What if things had turned out differently? Am I good enough? What if I fail? Why do bad things always happen to me? What is wrong with me? Will I ever be able to change? How can I fix this? Why don't people understand me? Am I wasting my time? Why do I keep repeating the same mistakes? What is the meaning of life? How can I find inner peace? What if I never achieve my goals? Will I ever be able to overcome my challenges? Should I leave my husband or my wife? What do I do now that my kids left home? Rainer Maria Rilke writes in Letters to a Young Poet, I beg you to have patience with everything unresolved in your heart, and try to love the questions themselves as if they were locked rooms of books written in a very foreign language. Don't search for the answers, which cannot be given to you now, because you cannot be able to live with them. And the point is to live everything. Live the questions now. Perhaps then, someday far in the future, you will gradually, without even noticing it, live your way into the answer. I couldn't have explained it better. Most of us want to find answers to our life questions before we start living an easier, more fulfilling life. But in the process, we waste that thing we have little of, life. In the poem, we're invited instead to live everything, including the question. Perhaps, if we do it, we'll bump into the answer without even noticing it. I know this doesn't make much sense. How could I live the question? How does that work? Makes no sense. As I've mentioned in other videos, I tend to be a contrarian. I guess that's why this resonated with me so much. Throughout my career, I've had many clients who would come to me asking me questions like the aforementioned. Obviously, I couldn't provide the answer they sought. If I did, it would have been my answers and not theirs. What I did instead was to teach them to dance with the answer, like the poem indicates. I'll help them to find their sweet spot with these questions. Since their approach wasn't functioning, it was necessary to find a different way to go about a solution. In order for you to live an easier life, it's imperative to dance a little with your darkness. Your destination is unknown. Nobody knows what's going to happen next. If we add to that the stress of constantly asking questions we can't find the answers to, we can bet our life it will be insupportable. Accept the question without fighting it. Don't chase the wind. Become aware of your actions by writing your thoughts for 2 days straight. That way you'll notice how you're constantly dancing at a rhythm that is not the one you want. You'll also notice that your thoughts are always the same and you can change them with ease by living what's in front of you. Feeling weird, apprehensive, frustrated, insecure, or even self critical is part of the dance. I'm sure if you think back, you're going to find times where you felt the same thing you're feeling now. Yet, you overcame your difficulty, and in some cases, there's not even a memory of what happened. Well, it's no different this time. Questions are asked, life keeps on lifing. Sometimes you find the answers, sometimes you don't. In both cases, you decide whether you want this to be a jiu-jitsu match or a bullfight. Patience is key. If you're going to remember something, remember this. Whatever you doubt, make your actions the answer to your question. I'll see you on the next one.